So welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at a relatively new game. This is a 2022 game from an Italian designer. So this game is called Italy 43 to 45, The Showdown. So this game I had heard about and seen from some pictures about that were from an Italian wargaming convention, and it's designed by a name that I'm not going to pretend to try to pronounce. So this is a game that is coin inspired, and my understanding is that I think it's yeah, I'm pretty sure it is effectively self-published. So this is a coin-inspired game. It's not a coin game about the Italian resistances, the German occupations, and what the liberation post 43 looks like on the ground. So I'm very interested to see what this is like, because we don't have any coin games that are in World War II at the moment. Let me just make sure that that's the case using my brain. I don't think that's the case. And so it was something that would be very interesting, and I don't really know anything about this. I don't know. I know very little bits and pieces about things like the French resistance or the various different Spanish factions during the Spanish Civil War, but nothing about this. Honestly, I don't. So they were very gracious enough to send us a copy. Now that there is a translated English version of the rules. So just kind of want to show you what's in here and what you would get. And then we're going to get this played this year at some point, because I've been very interested for this game for a long time, but it just wasn't available in English. And so let's kind of dive on in. So like a good coin game, 4 factions, can play up to 4 people. The quick question is can it do... I don't think there's a solo option in this. The back of the box says 2 to 4 players, so we're gonna kind of go with that. So we're gonna deck of cards. We're gonna look through those here in just a second. We have a bunch of baggies, and then in here we have a big old bag of wooden pieces. It's mostly the kind of stuff that you would expect. So we have these larger wooden cylinders. We have a bunch of cubes. And then the octagonal pieces. These ones don't have a flipped side on them that I can see yet. So they're not embossed or anything. And there's also a little... Here, let me pour some of this out. There's a little wooden D6 in here. And there's also a few blue, those very flat ones that are bases often in many of the coin games. So that's all kind of the wooden pieces. We'll divvy those up into little baggies, probably. So they gave us the English version of the rules. And these are just printed out. This is European-sized A4 paper. So if it looks a bit long to American eyes, that's why. So we've got the English rules here. That's a little printed out. And we have a map. Okay, this is what I thought was going to be the case. So, this game comes with a sheet of stickers on it, and little stickers have little black stars on them. My understanding is that is what is going to go onto these little cylinders, so that you can kind of make them underground, like you would expect to in a regular coin game. So instead of having them embossed, I'm sure that's very expensive for an independent publication, they just gave you a sheet of stickers. We're going to stick those on there. Okay, we'll look at the map here in a second, look at those cards. Let's get this out of the way so we can go through some of this cardboard and paper. So, first thing is, this is the Italian rule book. If you happen to speak Italian, it's probably going to be a bit easier to reference. But yeah, Italian rule book, and the rules are really only 17 pages of actual rules, and then the rest of this is card explanations and notes. So if we look at the rulebook that they gave us, yeah, pretty similar. There's far fewer rules on each page because there's a lot of empty space, but yeah, about 20 odd pages of rules. Then we have play aids, and I would expect to have 4 of them, and we do. Okay. Well, we have some Italian errata, so hopefully that was fixed in the translation, and we don't have to worry about that. Okay. Let's see. So we have there's 4 identical bifolds with all the different factions in it, and it's all these are the English play aids. So let's see, who do we have here? I don't know the names of the factions. But we have, so some of it's obvious. So we have the German Wehrmacht. So you have like occupational military forces. And then Repubblica Sociale Italia. So actual Italian, presumably fascists that are left over. These guys will be aligned. And then we got over here Comitato de Liberazione Nazionale. So these are probably based on the Red Star. This will be some kind of socialist liberation forces. And then Formazioni Autonome Militari. So I presume these are like autonomy. I don't know exactly, but I presume this is like independent military forces outside of like these dudes. So yeah, a couple of opposition forces, a couple of occupational forces, but again, operations, special activities, and then your scoring points and how you gain income, right? All the stuff that you would expect from a coin game. This looks very familiar from that standpoint. And then here on this single counter sheet that comes in the game, we have some different markers. So we've got control markers, which have the different factions on them. And then these markers down here. And then these look like city tiles, right? So you got Rome, Milan, perhaps. And let's have a look at the map, because those are overlay tiles that are going to go on here. And I wonder if that's a printing thing. Excuse me. So, big mounted map of Italy. Oh, it's quite stiff. I'm going to have to flatten this out. Okay, so yeah, it being Italy, all right, tall and thin, so this is a portrait style map. So down here, we have this Allied offensive track. So it's gonna, you've got all assault, all the stuff's gonna get tracked for Anglo-American forces. I presume this is our little score track and money track as well. Typically what that is. Little holding boxes for your forces, right? Everything that you would kind of expect from a coin game in that instance. Maps divided up into regions. We have the these roads that are going through, and then these cities. So this is what these overlays are for. I think this is like setup information, and then you're going to put these out. I don't know if you do that immediately or at some point, but there's a bunch of those for all of these cities that are on the board that line up. But yeah, let's take a quick gander at the cards. I just thought, I don't know anything about this stuff. Like, I know the military campaign that went on, but like the politics and the different factions, I know nothing about that. And so when I saw this game, I'm like, we gotta get in on this, right? We gotta see this. All right, so that's offensive phase cards. So, again, right, you've played a coin game, so your cards have how many, like the order of the factions, the initiative order, and then they'll have 2 different actions on them. Top action for, you know, the baddies, the bottom one for the goodies, so to speak, or the other way around, but yeah. You'd be very familiar with the layout of these. They got a nice little historical picture on them. and they got different colors based on who these. I do appreciate that, actually. I think some coin games do this, but it's got the background color matches, generally speaking, the color of your faction, of who this is like really good for and who's kind of first on the initiative track, just so it's a little bit easier to assess, kind of at a glance across a table if you're sat away from the cards. And then instead of having like propaganda rounds, you have these offensive cards, and these have dates on them, so they'll be seeded as well. But yeah, I don't. Outside of that, I don't know a ton about what this looks like, but I'm very interested to play this because it's something that's very different, but hopefully with a rule set that's very familiar. So we'll let you know how this is. We're going to play this. I really desperately want to play this 4-player. So I'm going to dive through the rules, see what that's like. But you know, it comes in this fairly large box. But this is one of those old MMP boxes that's kind of just cardboard that's folded. So it's quite heavy inside, but the box isn't the strongest. So just bear that in mind. I still was impressed that it came. It would be very easy for this to have been battered in the post coming across the Atlantic, but it came in good shape. But again, for an indie publication of something, it looks good enough. I really hope the gameplay is what I want it to be, and that will be determined by the rules and the kind of the balancing stuff in it. But the system itself, we know, is robust, being coin, so it's something that I'm very excited by. And again, a World War II coin game. Who doesn't want to get involved in some of this stuff? I'm going to learn a ton from this because I don't know really a lot about any of this stuff. So I'm very excited to play this. But this is a look at Italy 4345. You can go online, and I think you can purchase this directly. And I think that might be the only way to get it. I've not seen this distributed anywhere. But if it's something that you're interested in, go and do some research. Go and see if this will be something that you're interested in. But appreciate you very much for tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.